Ah! Ah!
Wanna touchdown in your end zone. You got a reputation in the streets, saying so fine but a cold heart.
Welcome to the Slant Podcast. Feels like 2020 is finally here. This podcast will be a little bit about the NFL draft, which is our own little team sort of mock from 1 through 32. We'll be kind of schedule releasing them. So by the time it gets to this one at 1, you will have hopefully heard 3 other podcasts breaking them down. With me, I have Adam. Adam, give the old fans a wave. The OG of the NFL Fantasy in New Zealand League. He's sporting a Denver jersey, but everyone knows he's kind of a bit of a Falcons fan. And then we also got Jordan here, Geordie brother, Uncle Jordan by a few names in a few different leagues. Also sporting a yuck orange Denver Broncos jersey. Good to see they coordinate though, but how are you, lads?
Yeah, good mate. Thanks, Matty. The reason I know why Jordan's wearing one, but I'm wearing this in hopes that I can create some momentum for the Denver Broncos to trade up with us Falcons at number 4. There's a bit of method behind the madness. Otherwise, I wouldn't normally be wearing a Broncos jersey.
Good to hear.
I like it.
It's still a yuck team though, so you can wish what you want. We'll get to that 4th pick though. Very coveted pick at the moment. Without further ado, we'll start with who we think's going to number 1. Geordie, I'll throw it to you so you can do the hard and the big breakdown, I should say, of who I think everyone in the world knows is going number 1.
What a tough
decision. Pretty easy one here. Trevor Lawrence. I world's probably known since about 2019 that this guy was going to go first in the draft. Basically looking back his career, broke out in 2018 after being Kelly Bryant's backup. Even for just being a fill-in for part of that year, still monstrous year, 3,274 yards, 30 touchdowns, and a PFF grade of 90.6. So, at a breakout age of 19, impressive. He's carried that on. He's still got a bit of rushing within there as well. You're still looking at around about 600 yards rushing each year. So with the fact that you're looking at somebody who's probably going to be doing upwards of 3,000 yards, the fact that he can support a receiver of about 1,000 yards, the one of just under 1,000, as he's done with Amari Rodgers, players like T. Higgins, Justin Ross over the last couple of years. He's a sure thing. He's going to fit in well with the Jags.
That's why the bookies have my $1 to go first. We'll lock him in. First picks off the board. Adam will go with the second pick. Some people think this is a lock already, and some people out here spinning some deep dives. What do you reckon?
Yeah, just quickly before I mention number 2, one thing that's real interesting is there's no chat of Trevor Lawrence wanting to sit out if the Jags, because I'm like, you look at some of those teams, and the Jags is not a team I'd be stoked to, but positive for them is that there's no chatter around him, even wanting to be there or something like that. So positive for them, and I guess the show of his character that hasn't come out. But at number 2, the New York Jets, this was kind of a bit of a grey area until the trade last week for Sam Darnold to go to the Panthers. So it's obviously going quarterback. And I think they go Zach Wilson. I think that's what everyone's talking about. So they'd know more than I do. And you can just, his stats last year, 32 touchdowns and 3 intercepts. He's ready to go. He's athletic. He's got the arm talent. He's got everything. And when you're still rebuilding the offensive line, his mobility in the pocket, you see with guys like Kyler Murray and that sort of thing, it can sort of make up for some of the misses at the O-line. And I know that with their picks, they'll build that up. But I think Zach Wilson out of BYU is the pick for the Jets.
Cool, like it. The third pick. If the trade didn't happen for San Fran, I've been pretty bullish that I think Sewell goes up there, but I'm big on Fields. Like I don't really know kind of why we're not having the combos about him going to. I feel like the Zach Wilson kind of stuff just like someone said that Zach Wilson was going, and then kind of just the train, the snowball just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like if you ask anyone, like, oh, why is Zach Wilson going too? I think anyone's actually going to give you a legitimate answer. I love Fields, bro. Like I'm a sucker for that toughness that he showed in the college football playoffs. Dude was just a straight beast in the playoffs. Took OSU on his back. Huge rushing upside, and I think, like, I think San Fran, while they keep talking about Garoppolo being their guy and blah 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 blah, I think they'll grab Fields. I think they kind of showed their hand. They want to come up and get a quarterback, and like. There's been a bit of talk that even if they take Fields, I think that, he'll sit out and he'll sit behind Garoppolo. I think this guy could, like, start week 1, week 2, week 3. Like, this dude's ready, and I think it's just about whether he can kind of mesh and click into that pro style fast. Because, I mean, like, you ain't getting those sort of high rush yards sort of this in the way in the NFL that you kind of do in college. So excited, though. Like, in my head, like, I'm not a big Trevor fan. Like, in my head, Justin Fields has the highest ceiling in terms of being a pro, but he does come with a bit of risk. But yeah, so locking in Justin Fields at 3.
Well, it's like you say. Every year, bro. There's a quarterback that somehow doesn't come out of nowhere, but they just grab all this momentum, snowballs, and all of a sudden they've gone from being maybe the 3rd or 4th best quarterback to the top or the 2nd. And I sort of said, like, what has Justin Fields done between the end of the college season to now to drop from 2 to 4 in some books, and some even 5? Like, it's crazy. Like, he's done nothing different, and yet he's dropped down, and the guy like Zach Wilson comes up.
I wonder if they traded to 3, because the Zach Wilson news came out, but actually before his pro day, and then I remember the Zach Wilson news started, and then the San Fran trade came. I wonder if San Fran want Justin Fields, and they were holding off, and then the Zach Wilson news and rumors started coming, and they thought, okay, we're actually a chance of getting it. Because up until then, Fields was going 2, and it was pretty easy, pretty simple. But I wonder if they were going to whiff of the Wilson news, and they kind of like, all right, cool, we might get Fields at 3, and that's their guy. So excited to see, though. But I think for me the most important pick of this draft is what the hell happens at 4. Jordy, what do you reckon?
Yeah, just going back to Fields, you've just commented on the fact of, what are people having against him, and it's really minor, but a lot of people are saying that he can't handle multi-read progressions. He can only handle that first read, and I've actually looked at some stats of this, and he has gone on to his further reads and the progressions 42 times out of 220. So that's not an issue. The other thing here is it's not a done deal that the 49ers are going to take Fields. Jones is being floated, and Shanahan, and it's crazy.
Not happening. No, not happening. Mac Jones, just to say it's not happening. Trust me, he ain't going that high.
Trust you.
They're not coming up to get Mac Jones. We were talking about
Mac Jones. Who had more big time throws out of any of the quarterbacks? It was Mac Jones. He had more big time throws.
It's like the Tua situation, bro. I mean, like, I'm just gonna be straight up. I did not like Tua, and I was vocal about it. Mac Jones, another system quarterback out of Bama, and he's going to be a bust. And you don't come up to 3 to get a player like Mac Jones. You come up to like 8 or 9 max.
You'd think.
Yeah, I think calling Mac Jones a bust is unfair on him if he gets drafted in the top 5, because that's not where he should be going. He's he's a late 2nd round pick, early 3rd round pick. But it's a quarterback league, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, to your point, Jordan, Kyle Shanahan apparently wants him, and it's only John Lynch that's stopping him at the moment. And
that's right. It's Shannon who went to his pro day. They had an assistant go to Fields' pro day.
They just playing smokes and mirrors, bro. It ain't gonna happen. Anyway, over to the 4 pick, Jordy.
Look, and this was one of the ones that when we were just about to talk before, I said I kind of felt bad about making this pick for Adam, being that he's the Falcons fan. Look, so maybe you throw to Adam for this one.
Yeah, my bad. That was my one job for the day. Adam at 4.
Yeah. Hey, look, I was going to let you go because I don't know what we're going to do with this one. We've got in my perfect world, we trade back to a team like Denver. So we're still in that top 10. I think we do eventually trade back, but it just depends how high the other teams have the other quarterbacks. And if you look at Denver, now that Carolina has Sam, they could actually see their quarterbacks fall anyway. So I think Atlanta are going to have to pull a San Fran on like the Bears, they did to the Bears to get Mitch Trubisky for them to trade up to 2. I think they have to tell some white lies and have some other teams calling to get a good trade value. But I do think the trade's the best option.
So if they take Pitts, how would you about that?
I'd be stoked.
Really?
As a fan of offense, we don't have a tight end.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love
he
it.
feels the need.
It's fantasy football. Like we don't have defense, so let's just double down on offense. But I mean, I've been saying to the boys, it's like not the one time we have a bad season, because we're always kind of middling, so we have those middle picks. The one year we're like top 5, we've always needed an edge rusher, and there's no edge rushers in this bloody draft. Like the one time, so it's just classic Falcons, like really, if we talk about it. But I'd be stoked with Pitts. I don't want us to go wide receiver. I'd be happy with one of the O linemen as well. So if I do have to make this pick, I'm going to go for the fantasy option, Kyle Pitts.
Nice.
Locking in Kyle Pitts. The old. Oh, let's just score more points than the other team because that wins games, right? If they, when was the last time we talked about like a tight end going like this high?
Well, they've been saying Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis has probably been the last one.
TJ Hawkinson went 8. So
yeah, he went pretty high.
Yeah, yep.
4 is high.
It's just so gross. Like, you only get to the point where you take defense for the sake of taking defense. Because if you take another offensive guy and like your defense sucks again and you lose like 35-30 every game and you get chased down, like you just at some point you just got to please the fan base and just say, hey, look, we're actually trying to get better.
Look, we drafted a first round corner last year. Like we have tried. We got Deion Jones. We've re-signed guys like that. The thing is, in those top 5 picks, if we don't trade out, that's why I'd like a tackle as well. We want a guy who's going to be all pro or at least a Pro Bowler multi-years. We go and draft a defensive player when this isn't a high defensive draft caliber class. We're going for a risk. We're doing a Raiders picking whoever they picked at number 4 that didn't work out. Like that sort of thing. I'd rather us pick the more likely than pick because we need the need.
Fair call. And the problem is at 4, like 4 is such a talented spot to sort of get, especially this year, that if you're going to take a defense, like they're going to drop. So if you can get, as you mentioned, you can get a bit lower and you'll still get your guy and you'll pick up some extra capital. I don't know what happens at 4. It's so hard. We keep doing mocks all week and I just couldn't figure it out what was going to happen. You just need to wait till day and see if they move. And if they don't, then you just wonder kind of what the hell. Just from my perspective, I want to see them grab Parsons there. I'm super high on him. I think, Jordy, I think you are a little bit, considering your rankings, I had a look, you're a bit high on him. Adam, I think you had him a little bit lower than we did, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of Parsons is someone we'll talk about. The interesting one. Character questions that you guys might have picked up on, but we'll talk about that soon.
All right, cool. So at 5, I'll take 5 here because this is my guy Sewell here. I think everyone kind of knows, and everyone goes, "Oh, yeah, I think was it Hudson." The Bengals kind of grabbed as an O lineman. They grabbed someone in the offseason. I know, Jordy, you were trying to tell me that they grabbed a guy and the coach.
Oh, Riley Reef.
Riley Reef, sorry. And they keep
So Riley Reef's coming as left tackle. Yeah.
Or that's what they're telling you anyway. I don't see how you can't, like, your star franchise quarterback of the next 10, 15 years tore his ACL. From day one, like everyone said, you cannot protect him. You've got no line. What happens? I think, like, it'd just be a disservice. I know some people are high on Slater. I like Slater. Slater's a good sort of offensive line. But I think like you grab Sewell here. Like there was a point in time when we were talking about Sewell going like 2, 3. I think if he goes to 5, I know people are talking about Chase and stuff from the LSU, but I think you start going down the route of kind of where the Falcons are at right now, and you've got a dope offense and nothing sort of around it. So protect your guy. You've got your quarterback of the next wee while. I don't overthink it. Just grab your O-line. Don't get cute about it. Grab O-line and get the hell out of there.
I mean, this has been debated this week. I think there's that meme that probably we've all seen where it's got the stick figures and it's got Joe Burrow and Sewell, and then it's got anybody, and he throws the ball, and then it's got Jamar Chase at the other end, and it's got him basically being sacked. But I guess the thing is, if you take Chase and you then look at getting one of the O-line later on, that's an option. I think you've got that rapport with Chase. Chase is going to create opportunity. I don't think you can go wrong with either decision, to be completely honest. I think the problem that you have is, what do you do with Sewell in that first year? Because they've brought on Riley Reef first year. He's a left tackle. So what are you going to do? Push Sewell inside? So that's your question.
I don't think it kind of matters to me because of the longevity O-line at the top line have kind of shown us in the league. It's not like you're drafting like a running back sort of thing, and you're going to get 4 years, and if you sit them for a year, it's very, very sort of like you need instant production. O-line, like some good O-linemen out there just are still pushing like late 30s, early 40s, and they're still elite O-linemen. So if you sit them for a year, does it really matter if you take them at 5, you sit them behind someone, and if you move them aside, you move them aside. But like he could have like a 10, 15-year career, and he could be the tackle for Joe Burrow for 10, 15 years, and at that point, no one's really worried that you set him for the first year.
It's just whether you move Reef, because I don't think he sits. It's just whether you change his position in the NFL because you've got Reef, or you make Reef change and switch sides to the right tackle. But I mean, that's a decision for them to make, because I think.
But then they've got Jonah Williams already at right tackle.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing. Do you look at taking Walker Little in the second, who a lot of people are going to discount because of his lack of production, and he's still a pretty good tackle? So there's options. I don't think it's clear cut.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that 4, 5, 6 is a very, very cute space, because I think that's where the draft really starts, because you're kind of out of the elite quarterback sort of mess, and that's where the draft really begins to me. And there could be some guys that keep falling here to Miami at pick 6, Jordy, but he reckons going at 6.
So if Sewell is gone at 5, look, then if Chase and Smith are still on the board, to be completely fair, I'm probably going to be on the reunion with Smith and Tua. I do have Chase higher, but I actually think they're going to go for the reunion.
Yeah, Adam, what do you think about that?
I would not agree with that. I don't think the reunion's on, especially from what Smith said when he was asked the question about who he'd choose between Mac Jones and Tua, and he went for Mac Jones. But I just think Jamar Chase is the clear-cut wide receiver 1. So if you go wide receiver 1, if you're taking a wide receiver here, you go for Jamar Chase.
I'm very low compared to consensus, and certainly other people I know, on Smith. I think he's a great quick route runner. I'm just like, I'm not like a big season wonder sort of guy. I know he's been producing, but like in my head, I have Chase clearly ahead of him, but I think I also have Waddle ahead of him. We'll talk about him when he comes up, though.
It's hard to call a man out on his 1-year production when he's behind so many NFL wide receivers, though. When he goes to Alabama.
100%.
Yeah.
So, for him to go and do it in his probably 1 year he gets, it's pretty good.
But I was having a conversation today. We were talking about last year before sort of Waddle snapped his ankle off. We were talking about Waddle and Chase being neck and neck in terms of going wide receiver 1. And how high are we on Chase right now? We were if Waddle had not broken his ankle, I feel like we would have been having those same combos right now. And I think he's a super good faller right now and buy low sort of person in rookie drafts, because everyone kind of forgot. And I get the ankle injury and that sort of stuff, but we were talking about this dude being insane after his production a few years ago, behind some above average quarterbacks, but not good pros. But anyway, yeah, I think I don't mind it. I can see why he would go there. It's all a crapshoot with those sort of guys, but yeah, right.
Well, I mean, with the wide receivers, we saw it last year. There was who was it? CD, Ruggs, and Jerry Jeudy, and everyone had a different value on those 3. So
CD was meant to be the guy that was meant to be the generational guy, and he probably looks like that guy now, but he kept falling, and kind of people just opening their eyes, and then Dallas snapped him up. But Yeah.
It's receivers. So Detroit, well, I think here you're in a position where you take best available, unless you really, really like Trey Lance and you want a new quarterback. I think here you just go best available. You've got so many holes. You're not going to compete this year. Um, and that leaves me in this situation. I'd take Jamar Chase just because he's the best player. And for him to fall to you at 7, I think is a dream come true. At least it then gives Jared Goff an opportunity to have someone to throw to him, and they lose Kenny Golladay, they lose Marvin Jones. So pretty rough out there. I think it's a run-heavy offense, but I think Jamar Chase would be the pick if he falls to 6.
Yeah. Jordy, agree?
Yeah, I actually had, if he fell, I actually would have had Sewell, but he hasn't. So, yeah, I would be happy with Chase. Yep.
Yeah, I think I agree there. Like it makes sense if he falls that far. It makes sense that he kind of just comes straight in for Golladay. He can be that sort of outside guy. So